Good morning, Freetown. Good morning, Sierra Leone. Welcome to Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV television and also radio on FM 101.7. My name is Bokari Matia.
And I am Alimata Judge. Whether you're watching or listening to us from the provinces or in the capital city, on Channel 33 or on DSTV Channel 399 from across Africa, you're most welcome.
You can also watch us online from around the world on this beautiful and joyous day, the 17th day of July 2026.
We're broadcasting live from the top of Tower Hill in the heart of the city. Send us your comments through our socials on the YV News Facebook page and the stories that we cover this morning.
And talking on the stories we're covering here this morning, coming up this morning, we shall be discussing the build-up ahead of the ECOWAS Mid-Year Summit 2026 and Sunday at the Dr. Julius Maada Bio Conference Center in Leone. We'll discuss CSO's views on the summit.
And the Kids Advocacy Network this morning will be announcing the winners for the 50 Most Influential Women Awards 2026. We will discuss credibility of the process.
And of course, also AYV's Joseph Adu Mambu will be reporting on the unveiling of the 2026 AYV News Miss University pageantry under the theme Redefining Beauty Through Purpose and Leadership.
But before all that, let's get a quick message from our sponsors, Wakeup Commercial Bank and other advertisers. And we shall be right back with you. Please stay with us.
More and more people are using Wakeup SIM Copper Plus in their everyday lives. Did you hear that? She just transferred money for her daughter's school fees. And this man just paid for some products. Mr. Abu, are you sending money to your wife again?
Yes, like Wakeup SIM Copper. Yes, like having money in my pocket.
Excellent.
Thank you.
He just bought some eggs. The world is digital, so keep up with the times. Have you got a payment to make? If so, just download Wakeup SIM Copper Plus now. You can download the Wakeup SIM Copper Plus app from Apple iStore and iPad or Google Play Store for Android users. You see, it's fast, safe and reliable.
Sorry, I go see some business partners.
You didn't give me memory, Michael. Can if I guess I give me this capital and not to Indy. Today you pay me money. I don't send it for let you help me send money in Ghana. 2 weeks now you not send me money and 10 you not give me back me money. Today give me money.
You know ever sabi goodness in life. I send back your money, but trust me, today na the very last day I ever send money for now.
I don't need your help because I don't know so with African money. I able to send money. Now Baku Africa countries them.
With African money, we be able to send money to over 10 African countries, whether it's Ghana, Gambia, Liberia, or Kenya. If me party we know this, we not follow the party grammar right now.
Okay, una go regret. I mean now, una go regret.
The best part right now, Michael, with African money, you dey able to send money even if you not use app, even if you know the online directly. All you need for do, you just a dial *161#. Pam, your money don't go. So I don't need the help again. Thief man.
Thank you.
Send money to over 10 African countries instantly with AfriMoney. No stress, no excuses. Just dial *161*1*6# now. AfriMoney, quick and easy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I can take money, 2 MoneyGram.
Welcome our PC Foreign Exchange Bureau head office. Sit down.
Thank you.
You can write them.
Waiting that mean?
Where you can take money through MoneyGram Western Union at any PC and Son shop, including the head office. You do get 1% cashback instant. Yes, ma. You not tap deal. Every Thursday we can collect money. Now 59 Wellington Street. You say you dey showing at the head office for the foreign exchange. You do get 1% of that money you can collect. plus additional gifts.
Wow! You mean say for me 1% I dey get gifts?
Yes, ma'am.
Wetin na the gift?
You dey get gifts like 5 kg paddy jasmine rice. You dey get gifts like paddy oil, paddy milk, paddy mayonnaise, and plenty other paddy things them.
Una, thank you.
You're welcome. And now you can Carlo Kangoli go give you Anna the lucky win and see what you go win you say.
Wait till you dey wait. No miss out on the Thursday special.
BC Foreign Exchange Bureau, the 1% the game plus Thursday special.
Again, it's been a very crazy day. The joyous feeling in the air when rain falls on a sunny day.
Happy, yeah. Let the stars, let the road.
Enjoy life's little pleasures with Maltina. Maltina. Share happiness.
As mama, I always want waiting best for me picking them, especially when it comes up waiting them for eat and drink. Now this make I always they choose Sarah juice because they make come from with local foods them and nutritious and it gets less sugar than the other drinks them. Not to me say so.
We lab test show say Sierra juice gets 50% less sugar than the other drinks them na the market.
Because we mama they know waiting best for we picking them, now I make we always they choose Sierra juice. Sierra juice is nutritious, it's healthy and it's sweet. Sierra juice, not the taste of Salome.
Fellow Sierra Leoneans, on 8th August 2024, Statutory Instrument Number 8 of 2024 regarding the conduct of nationwide population and housing census was successfully laid in Parliament. On 29th August 2024, this statutory instrument became effective following 21 days from its laying. Therefore, in line with the decennial census calendar, I am pleased to announce that my government will conduct a nationwide population and housing census.
It's 2026, we dey get with census. Make all man tell him family them. Responsibility for bring development. Make all man tell him family them. From the east to the west, blah blah blah. From the north to the south, no matter how you dare or you try, blah blah blah. Zoka. Mama or papa, blama blama. One pikin or grandpa, blama blama. Auntie or uncle, blama blama. Motibe, they dey come to you. Yeah, one people, one nation. They dey come to you. Yeah, now we number go bills alone. They dey come to you. Yeah, no person say you not care. They dey come to you. They don't come to you.
It's Hama Papa. Make we come together now. Brother, sister, nothing say you no matter, no. No left behind, no. This night it's 10-4. Can join the census. Salon now we on.
Okay, well, show me your name. Show me your address. For make you go join now the plan. The census go make you get the access. For make you go vote now this land. Let the all you. If you don't want make them country again, make them keep you. Cause this time you're salon for us.
See what you better say, Kekabo Aduo. We bring good news, salon people here. Census don't come again. We ready for contact, sky from the young to the old. Say the census go help make development day. Allow me then continue until you know go pay. It go help plan more schools, hospital and light, even water for you community. Who say you day?
They come to you. Yeah, one people, one nation. They come to you. Yeah, now we number go bills alone.
Yes, welcome back. A quick reminder, this is Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV TV and video here in Freetown. Now, after a year pause, the AYV News Miss University pageantry is returning with a new message that a crown should carry more than beauty, it should carry responsibility.
And under the theme, redefining beauty through purpose and leadership, this year's competition aims to shift attention from appearance to character, intelligence, and community impact. AYV Joseph Adamambu brings us the support from the lunch.
For decades, beauty pageants have often been associated with glamour and physical appearance. But the return of the AYV News Miss University is setting out to redefine that perception by promoting young women whose impact reaches far beyond the runway into classrooms, communities, and leadership spaces. The 2026 edition was officially unveiled, with organizers reaffirming their commitment to building a platform that rewards purpose as much as beauty. Managing Director of AYV Media Empire, Umaru Fofana, said, Miss University is not just another pageant, but an initiative designed to showcase beauty with brains.
The theme has not been chosen by mistake. It was not fortuitous. We thought about it. And redefining beauty through purpose and leadership. And that again is no coincidence, because for the first time in its history, NOS has a woman as its president. So it tells you why we are talking about women and we are talking about leadership.
The competition is organized through a partnership between AYV Media Empire and the National Union of Sierra Leonean Students. NOS President Fiona Njima described the pageant as a movement aimed at rewriting the narrative around beauty contest.
We are launching a movement. For too long, beauty has been defined by the surface, by the stature, and by the social media followers. But here today, in this moment, we are rewriting that script. Miss University 2026 is not a pageant. It is a platform. It is a platform for the young women who has a voice in the lecture room of this nation. The one who is not just studying for a degree, but who is studying how to solve the problems of our community. The one who understands that true beauty is found in the courage to lead, the compassion to serve, and the resilience to stand firm in the face of adversity.
Adding his voice, Minister of Youth Affairs Ibrahim Sano admitted that he once viewed pageantry differently, but now recognizes its potential to shape discipline, confidence, and socially responsible young people, noting that such platforms create opportunities for leadership, entrepreneurship, and career growth while encouraging young people to discover and develop their talents.
And I came to realize pageantry is not just about beauty.
It's about service to community. It's about you being a role model. It's about you being an influencer. Because once you are in that center stage now, everybody have seen you, the country knows you, and a lot of people now have seen you. You're a role model to me.
For the reigning Miss University Queen, Fatima, the pageant has been a journey of transformation. She described her reign as one filled with learning, growth, and opportunity, while encouraging female students across the country to take advantage of the platform.
Standing here today reminds me of my own journey. Becoming AYV Miss University was more than winning a crown. It gave me growth, learning, exposure, and even a car that I still use today. A reminder that one opportunity can change your life.
Officially launching the competition, Deputy Minister of Tourism Khadija Kamara challenged the perception that pageantry is simply about appearance. She describes it as a platform that promotes leadership, cultural identity, and personal development, urging contestants to embody truthfulness, discipline, resilience, and pride in their heritage.
Let us use this platform to provoke enough to make people rethink that pageants can be better, greater, and can pave the way for young women. Let it be honest enough to make young women trust that they are real in themselves and they believe in themselves. Let it be that Sierra Leone is enough on its own just by us watching and not judging these young ladies. Anywhere the world understands us exactly as we represent ourselves, so shall we be proud of ourselves when these young ladies stand on these stages to answer questions that will be asked on that day of their pageantry. To one people, one nation, one story, which is our story.
With auditions expected to draw contestants from universities across Sierra Leone, organizers say the 2026 edition will celebrate young women who embody not only beauty but also intellect, leadership, and a commitment to national development. Joseph Adumambu, AYV News, Freetown.
All right, many thanks to Joseph Adumambu for that report. Now we return to our studios in our first conversation this morning. Under President Julius Maada Bio chairmanship at ECOWAS, Sierra Leone has played a prominent role in promoting dialogue, constitutional governance, and regional cooperation, whether through diplomacy, mediation, or engagement with fellow leaders. The country's voice has become more influential than at any time in recent history.
There are moments in the life of every nation when history pauses to acknowledge progress. For Sierra Leone, from the 12th to the 19th July 2026 will be remembered as one of those defining moments during this historic week. Sierra Leone is hosting the ECOWAS Media Summit 2026, culminating in the 69th Ordinary Session of the Authority of Heads of State and Government on 19th July in Lunge.
Well, presidents, prime ministers, foreign ministers, diplomats, business leaders, and development partners from across West Africa will gather on Sierra Leonean soil to deliberate on the future of a region confronting some of the greatest political, economic, and security challenges in its history.
So this morning, to discuss the ECOWAS Media Summit 2026 from a CSO's point of view, we have Charles Mambu, Chairman of the Board of Directors for Infrastructure for Development, Sierra Leone. We also have Ibrahim Sori Dumbuya, Executive Director, League of Democracy, and Dukule Bakari, a graduate of political science and currently a law student at Fobe College. He recently wrote a compelling article on the ongoing ECOWAS Media Summit, which he titled, "How is the Summit Boosting Up the Image of Sierra Leone?" Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to Wakeup Sierra Leone.
Yeah, good morning. And good morning, our moderators.
So I'd like to start with you, Bakari Dukule, since you wrote this article pushing the idea that this summit will boost Sierra Leone's economy. First off, I would like to ask, do you think as a nation, considering the economic hardship around, do you think we're ready to host a summit of this magnitude at this time?
Yeah, thank you so very much for such a brilliant question.
The Media ECOWAS Summit is indeed a monumental turning point in the history of Sierra Leone. And in spite of our recent economic challenge as a nation, I think it is quite expedient for us to host such a summit. This is not only going to be about the economy of Sierra Leone. It is as well going to be about the leadership Sierra Leone is going to take to actually host its member states within the region to discuss very fundamental or critical issues around, the community, West Africa. So it is actually going to project our nation to the international community that in this Sierra Leone is ready to embrace not only its own challenges, but regional and international challenges. So regardless of our current economic status as a nation, we are much more able to, embrace such an initiative. This summit is going to expose Sierra Leone regionally and internationally. It is going to actually bring a whole lot of benefits for even the ordinary Sierra Leoneans.
What are some of these benefits, to be precise?
Yes, by merely or by seemingly hosting this summit, is going to actually attract investors. It is going to attract even tourists to be connected to the country and to subsequently, even after the summit, invest prudently in the country's economy. It is going to provide jobs. It is going to actually provide some other opportunities, like even because during the summit, critical or fundamental issues will be discussed regarding free scholarships for even students, across the community, across West Africa, where, leaders around the community are going to have that sense of responsibility to discuss, such an issue where African citizens, especially the youths, will be privileged to go from one country to the other to study, to have some job opportunity, to actually empower themselves, etc.
How much, some people are concerned about the amount of money that might have been expended just to ensure that we host this summit. How much was spent on infrastructure alone for this summit?
The amount of money is 124 million United States dollars.
Don't you think we're spending money that we already don't have?
Sierra Leone is not only initiating this particular summit.
Who's
it
paying?
Is not private sector partners are as well involved. They are assisting the government in making sure that they facilitate this ongoing summit. Even though such an amount of money is chunk, but the subsequent opportunities that it will be bringing to the country will be quite enormous. We should not only look at the current picture, we have to look at the, broader picture, especially, for the future.
So the question is, who pays this money? Is it the government? Is it ECOWAS? Are they partnering with development partners? Who pays the money? I think that's the concern many citizens around, some citizens have.
Well, Sierra Leone is just, the government of Sierra Leone is just partially, sponsoring this.
So how much did the government of Sierra Leone spend?
Well, it cannot be determined. It is something that is, sponsored by, even as I said earlier, by some other partners, private partners, who are partnering with the government of Sierra Leone to invest in this summit, especially in building the Mandabio International Conference Center.
Okay, let me rope you in, Mr. Mambo. So earlier on, when Dukle was responding to my question. He did say this will give us a good image in the international space. You know, the perception of Sierra Leone will now be better. Do you think just hosting one summit successfully automatically changes the image of Sierra Leone, considering the fact that in recent times we've been making rounds on the news for these narcotics, this transshipment hub and the like?
Thank you very much. I actually don't think hosting of one conference would totally change the image of Sierra Leone. However, a conference of this magnitude, especially when you look at the infrastructure that have been constructed, will go a very long way to reposition Sierra Leone as a country that is actually, eager for business and a country that is open to West Africa and the international community as well. I think that's one of the bigger advantages that we're going to see. For us, the infrastructure is extremely very important. And we hope and pray that the infrastructure after this conference will be maintained, because midway the construction, Infrastructure for Development actually wrote a letter to the Honorable Minister of Finance, Honorable Bangura, and copied the chairman of the Presidential Infrastructure Initiative, requesting them to allow us to visit and be au fait with the details of the project itself. Unfortunately, not even a reply, was sent to us. So we right from the start to the end of the construction, Infrastructure for Development was actually not, allowed and not have the opportunity, as we used to have before, to dive down into the project itself, what had it cost, its total benefit. But from the one we are seeing from photos from AYV and other media organizations, including State House Media, I think it was a magnificent infrastructure that will stand the test of time, for the image of Sierra Leone, especially when it was actually built at the Leone International Airport, because Leone for international travelers is actually the gateway to Sierra Leone. So as a country, poor as we are, we also needed infrastructures of that nature, which can actually host foreign dignitaries like foreign head of state and government, like they are coming out. So it was a good investments in terms of country image. It goes a long way. It could not be the only one that will change in totality, whatever bad names, image that we have been featured with international media and international arena as well. That will not be the only one. However, it goes a very long way to reposition Sierra Leone as a country that is ready for business. Mind you, a lot of our investors across the world and even our international partner, look at your infrastructure before ever they can deal with you. Some of these infrastructures are actually meant, for you to see and project yourself as a country ready for business and a country that you can guarantee, because at a certain level, some of this infrastructure can even be changed for a guarantee, either for a loan or for other investment of development purposes.
Mr. Mambu, let's talk about this specific structure. How important or viably used will it be after this conference? We're having a magnificent structure like that in Leone, where transportation to Leone is either by ferry or around the riverine area through Port Loko. You're building a structure like that, not in Freetown, that will not be used every day or every week as per se. So why have that structure in Leone? How viable will it be after this conference?
Normally this is what we see some of us in our long stay with on governance and civil society issues across the world. That's what we tell people, that Allah actually gave a lot of powers to leaders, especially president, and more especially in Africa. I tell you, and this I've said it time without number, if President Bio, actually, pronounced today that the national stadium, the only stadium that Sierra Leone has have to be rehabilitated within 3 months, it definitely will have been done. But unfortunately, for nearly 7 years, you know, we are still on rehabilitating a very old stadium at the cost of $40 million. Now we are able to build a new big structure like the Summit Conference Center within 3 months, you know, and all the other things that so it's the determination of the president and it's the direction of the president. You understand? No other person, not including Mr. Mambu, will actually speak for the president, nor do I think. But what we are saying, it has been done. Be it in Freetown or in Longe, they call it International Conference Center. International Conference Center, the first area that international people actually sees in Sierra Leone, especially when you are using the airport, is the Longe International Airport, where this conference center has been built. You understand? So, to me, I can't speak for President Bill, but in my mind, it was also a very good suggestions, you know, that it was actually built in Longe, because Longe is also part of Sierra Leone.
But how often will it be used when most conferences are done in Freetown?
Those are the things we had wanted to put to the Honorable Minister of Finance, Mr. Bangura. Unfortunately, Infrastructure for Development did not have that opportunity, you know, to actually sit with him and the chairman of the Presidential Infrastructure Initiative, because what we know about Sierra Leone for years back is that Sierra Leone is very, very government in and out. We are very, very poor at maintaining our infrastructure. Extremely very poor. Go to local housing estate at Kisi, see how dilapidated they are.
Even the special court of Sierra Leone.
Go to special court. Look at our barracks, both police and military. Look at the building that was built for the OAU in 1980 at Heath Station. In fact, as you speak, most of them has been sold. Most of them has been sold. Special courts, you know, left a legacy. You know, perhaps if previous government will have made a better use of it, the special court facility will have been transformed as an international center, even not going to Longe, you know, to host, because that special court was built to standard. Unfortunately, by the end of special court section, the place was vandalized, everything was looted, it was damaged. Today we are seeing other bodies actually taking the land and building other facilities. So that's what was one of our worries. We had wanted to put it to the Minister of Finance. How can this conference benefit Sierra Leone after this conference? Because all governments, like some of us have gone through, that we have read about from independent, we are very, very poor to maintain our infrastructure. We don't maintain it. We can spend a lot of money like this one that has been done. I'm hearing that it's about $124 million, you know, for just a day, 2 or 3 conference, you know, after which, what next? And to maintain that conference center, we need to attract investors. The head of states are coming. Good, very good. All of them are coming because it's part of their obligation to host each other in each other's country. You know, Sierra Leone has been hosted. Our president has visited all these countries and he see what they are doing. So it's not a mistake that we are hosting them here. It's very good. But at the end of it all, how would that infrastructure be maintained? Who will pay for their maintenance? Who will pay for their maintenance? Even the investor, for them to recruit their money, to get their money back. The country have to attract, you know, more people coming into the country, more other conferences, not only conferences of head of state or prime minister or head of government, but other dignitaries, where the investor and the government of Australia will actually get part of that money that they are actually used on that. And I just want to tell my brother that a part of that money for the construction of that center was actually provided by the government of Australia through many other avenues.
How much of it?
Yeah, no, I can't actually say, because those are the questions we had wanted. answers from the Honorable Minister of Finance as people who have monitored, who have educated, who have sensitized, and who are looking at a lot of our infrastructure across the country. Unfortunately, we are denied that opportunity.
All right, let me bring in Ibrahim. Now, we've spoken about the importance of this conference and, you know, the infrastructure around it, but a key among what's happening in this conference will be that presidents, prime ministers, ministers of ECOWAS nations will gather to discuss key issues around, you know, the West African region, you know, relating to economy, relating to security, relating to political interest, and we know the wave of governance issues happening across West Africa. From a democratic perspective, you know, and given your background, do you think Sierra Leone is ready to discuss democracy at this point in time? Have we sold democracy enough for us to spearhead such discussion? We have neighbors who have transitioned from military to now democratic government. We have West African states who are currently under military regimes. What would ECOWAS leaders be discussing when it comes to the socio-political, economic state of West Africa?
Oh, thank you. And by way of direct analysis, and I will establish the fact that all what they are going to discuss falls within democracy. All the elements that are actually enforcing or supporting democracy. But there are several questions that we normally ask, especially for us democratic practitioners who are practicing democracy to its fullest, is that we have to look at a long-term benefit and we have to look at immediate benefit. Of course, it's a welcoming idea to actually host the ECOWAS summit. But sometimes we discuss this issue with a broader ambit, looking at the prevailing circumstance, if whether Sierra Leone is comfortable economically to actually host the ECOWAS summit. By way of direct answer is an absolutely no, because we have serious economic challenges. And these economic challenges, they need an immediate or urgent economic solution to actually cure the economic crisis we are actually facing. And we should bear in mind that it is not mandatory to actually host the ECOWAS summit, whether we are spearheading the leadership of the ECOWAS. To support that argument, I will take you back to Togo. Togo was supposed to host the ECOWAS summit in February, but they cancelled it because of political reasons associated to other economic challenges. And it is forbidden when there are established activities within the framework of ECOWAS, which gives exception that you have a choice to host or not to host if you fall under certain categories. When you have economic challenges, when you have political instability, these are just few amongst many other things. Now, as Mr. Mambu was actually stating, which is 140 million, I think this money specifically is being tagged to the hard infrastructure. Mark you, we have two types of infrastructure. We have the soft infrastructure and then we have the hard infrastructure. So come to think about it, what significant benefits with urgency the hard infrastructure will contribute to Sierra Leone at a time when we are actually living in an economic crisis, that's where if perhaps we don't take our time, our economy is going to be collapsed. And we talk about the soft infrastructure, probably the educational things, the tourism, and all other package that it actually comes in. Remember, Sierra Leone is under an IMF strict fiscal regulations. And these strict fiscal regulations, they call it economic reform. But by extension, it's an austerity. It's an austerity. And Sierra Leone is tagged within that category due to the IMF. That is why we are giving an extended credit facilities. 140 million. Let's take 140 million holistically. And then we try to tie it towards the electricity problem we're having in Sierra Leone. We have to tie it towards the roads network we have in Sierra Leone. And then we also need to tie it towards the free quality education, which is actually driven with so many challenges. So don't we think as a nation that 140 million will give us, if not permanent or stable electricity, but at least 95% stability of electricity the entire country will have. Roads infrastructure, 140 million. This is just to talk about the infrastructure. It comes with other expenses, which probably the money, if we go deeply, probably the money is up to $160 million that we are spending. Mark you, when you are hosting the ECOWAS summit, it is your responsibility to take care of logistics and infrastructure. The host country is responsible.
And I assume we would have bought vehicles or motorcycles, you know, for these heads of state that are coming and their entourage and so on and so forth. So we're not only looking at the building itself, but as you stated, the soft infrastructure behind it, the things that they are not telling us now, like, okay, we don't build this big building, but what of the vehicles? What of, you know, paying the personnel, the drivers, those who will be chauffeuring? We've had conferences here in Freetown and in Lunge who would be paying the logistics and traveling in ferries or boats across the river and all of those. But whilst we talk of these, I am concerned again. You've stated that we are economically challenged as a country, and there are parameters that, you know, ECOWAS as an institution and organization will look at and say, okay, Sierra Leone can host. In your estimation, are we that stable to host? One, politically, are we stable? Security-wise, are we stable? Economically, are we stable?
I would tell you, for political stability, I would say yes, we are stable. And for other security institutional framework, I would say yes. But for the economic aspect, it's an absolutely no. Because mark you taking 140 million for the infrastructure itself. Imagine the huge gap, especially when we are at a crossroad. If our economy is moving from what we call a broken economy to a paralyzed economy. We are within the thin line. They said they inherited a broken economy. So the transition, so it's like it is moving from, it's transiting from that of a broken economy to a paralyzed economy. And one effect is just taking money with a misplaced priority. That's how I am describing. It is not, I am not saying that it is not viable for us to host the ECOWAS summit. But at a time like this, I'm talking about the circumstances, it is not economically viable for us, Sierra Leone, especially when the onus of logistics and infrastructure, it is on us, especially when we are fighting with clean pipe-borne water problems, especially when we are struggling with electricity problems, especially when we are struggling with the daily meals, inflations, okay? All these price controls. That is why the IMF gave us economic guidelines to take away subsidies. Any country that is instructed to take away subsidies, that simply means the economy of that particular country, it is on a crossroad that it is not publicly efficient and effective to reflect on the lives of the people. So you have a review of the economy. So at a time like this, when we need urgent, emergency solutions to cure our economic problems, to cure, some percentage of the mass suffering, there are other alternatives that ought to have been done, especially at this time. So it is not economically viable at this time. So that is why I describe it to be a misplaced priority. And by extension, I will support Mr. Mambo to look at other alternatives when it comes to infrastructure. Assumably that indeed we want to host the ECOWAS summit. What is wrong with the City Council Hall? Are we saying that space is not enough? When it is built on huge amounts of money and that all is economically benefiting the nation at large? As Mr. Mambo said, what is wrong with the special courts? Have we seen the infrastructural place which is physical for us to see if whether we can effect that to actually host, rather than just spending 140 million to build a new structure, especially at a distance when the frequency of it actually generating revenue touristically, as we are saying, because all this argument, it is based on tourism. You know, our problem here is concentrating on continental prestige as against that of a domestic well-being. And if we allowed the continental prestige to trespass that of the domestic well-being, then it is on us, the ordinary citizens, that are going to actually we are actually going to face or going to have the inflictions that mispriorities is actually bringing to the table.
Okay, Ibrahim Zobango, clearly listening to you speak, it's obvious that it will be difficult for, like, if I should use your own words, continental prestige to coexist with unresolved economic problems in Sierra Leone. So clearly, according to you, we are not ready to host a summit of this magnitude because of our economic challenges. What would you think the problem is? Do you think the president of Sierra Leone might be paying more attention to aesthetics rather than seeking the interest of the citizens? For instance, making sure that such sum can be converted to electricity, to providing pipe-borne water. Of course, we have all of these challenges. Even the free quality education is facing challenges. Could it be that he's doing all this because he wants to be elected, he wants to position himself in the international sphere as the Mr. President that did this, that did that, and he wants a re-election?
I think it cannot be devoided from that reality which you have stated, to say probably, perhaps, he is actually seeking for re-election. But these positions, according to the statutory framework of that of the ECOWAS, are rotational. And yes, of course, maybe perhaps he's also thinking about leaving legacy behind. But if you want to leave a legacy behind, the legacy by way of public consumption must be valid to the extent that posterity will embrace it. But if you are leaving a synthetic legacy to the extent that after a couple of years it will affect our economy, or it will not bring to the nation that which is set forth at the initial or pre-planning towards bringing the ECOWAS commit. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. It is not, the idea of hosting the ECOWAS summit is not a bad idea. But I think the planning is what is actually affecting us. A huge sum of money to be taken from the consolidated fund, when there are other alternative facilities that ought to have been taken into considerations to actually enforce that visions which we are saying we want to leave this legacy. But come to think again about it from an external perspective, is it statutorily mandatory for us to host the ECOWAS summit? The answer is absolutely no. And we have an excuse to even take to the ECOWAS block.
Ibrahim, has there ever been a time where you'd say we will be ready? Because if you say now we are not ready, and in the 90s after independence, when we hosted the OAU again, people were saying we were not ready. After the war again, we were not ready. In the 2010s, we were not ready. When are we going to be ready? Aren't we big enough now as a country to start taking bold steps? You know, we will never be ready if we say unless we solve our economic problem.
Let me take
so
you to,
when will we be ready?
Before you learn, let me take you to the historical facts of when we hosted the OAU.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
let
coming.
me take that
I'm
one.
coming. Let us take.
Apologies, Mr. Mambu. Let him respond
Mr. Mambu,
quickly.
please, sir. My apologies, sir. Let us go back to the historical analysis of when we hosted the OAU as the then Pasheki was in power. After that, there was huge economic collapse. It affected governance. And up till now, we have not cured from that economic frustration. Up till now, and it is affecting us. So sometimes, even when you want, the algorithm is there, you have to analyze the algorithm for the pre and the post and the during. It is not that probably we are not ready. The readiness is not the appropriate thing I want to say about. But the readiness must not be a cosmetic readiness. It should be a real vision, as Mr. Mambu was saying. Alternatively, let's look at the hard structure. Before taking 140 million to spend on structure, which is hard structure, there are other alternative structures that you can spend on. It maybe there will come a time which Sierra Leone will reach that level. I mean,
and when will that be? If we keep pushing, when are we going to be self-sufficiently reliant or economically powerful to host?
I mean, get a valid legacy.
It's been over 20 years since the war ended. Why can't we take initiative?
What about other countries that they usually cancelled? Yes, it is because of their economic sensitivity. It is because of their political sensitivity. It's because they know that hosting a particular summit like this, the effect it will cause on our economy, especially when the economy is not ready. The problem here is not the vision, it is the economy. The economy is not ready, and we must not have a synthetic or a cosmetic legacy.
All right, so let me bring in Mr. Mambu.
Let's look at certain hard facts. Sierra Leone is poor, and from the knowledge I have, looking at things, I think Sierra Leone will remain poor for the next 40 or 50 years.
Mr. Mambu, that's a bold claim.
Yeah, it's based on what I've seen.
Using the current trajectory.
Yes, and looking at what is currently happening, when you compare. But that being said, all other West African countries are very poor, including Nigeria. Nigeria, as an oil-producing country, is importing petroleum, refined petroleum, to get their economic moving. Dangote has tried to build the largest refinery in Africa, in Nigeria, but that alone is also not able, to keep the economy going for a population of very close to 200 or more million. So Nigeria, as a bigger country, with the largest economy in Africa, is also poor when you look at their population and you look at the new. So all other West African head of states that are coming, to attend this summit are poor. Their economies are challenged, including Sierra Leone economy as well. They are definitely challenged. So it doesn't mean we have to set a time to be ready, to host. It's just like people say, you can't say because I'm hungry I cannot feed others or I cannot support others. No. You shall ever remain hungry, but the little you have to share with it. So the leadership of West Africa who are coming, had a criteria to look at who should host their summit, and I think President Bio fulfilled nearly 90 to 95% of those criteria that were set for countries to host. One, if you look at the democratic credentials, I think President Bio is one of the leaders in West Africa whose democratic credentials are good. I can say at the moment he's the only head of state, a military head of state that handed over power peacefully to a democratically elected government, a civilian government. Across all the head of state that are coming, President Bio is the only one that has that credential. President Bio is also the only one among them as a soldier while serving. He was the first people among the contingent to defend ECOWAS in Liberia. He actually went there to defend ECOWAS, and this was a mandate from ECOWAS, you understand? So he has built, you know, that reputation with ECOWAS, even becoming head of state twice. You know, one as a military and the other one as a civilian. You understand? So you can see that when they say, okay, you are going to host, they have looked at some of these criteria that actually fits within, you know, their parameter for a country to host. We are hosting it even amidst economic challenges. And like I said, looking at what we are producing, export versus import, our economy will remain challenged for a couple of years to come. Because we have more consumers than producers. You understand? More consumers in Sierra Leone than producers. So the summit is good. It's good. And like I reiterated earlier, our fear is the maintenance of the infrastructure after the summit.
I think in this discussion there is a huge misconception on very critical matters or issues, especially with regards the condition, the economic condition of the country in hosting the summit. It is actually good to compare the 1980s OAU summit and the ECOWAS Media Summit, because both are international summits, you know, but the circumstances surrounding the two events are fundamentally very different. Unlike the OAU summit, the ECOWAS summit actually makes Sierra Leone to share just a smaller or a minimal amount of money or an investment in such, you know, an event that is now ongoing. In the 1980s, the OAU summit was significantly financially sponsored by Sierra Leone. This is like a private-public, you know, partnership investment. Sierra Leone isn't the only body that is financially sponsoring this initiative. It is a public-private partnership.
Who are these other partners?
Yes, they are just some investors or some international
partners. So do you know
partners.
them? Are you certain that there are other partners that poured in money?
I am very certain, because this has been said by, you know, highly placed personalities.
Are you relying
on I am not, because I have heard from government ministers here and beyond that it is an initiative, it is an event that is, you know, fundamentally sponsored equally by, you know, private partners.
If that's the case, don't you think the government should be more transparent?
Well, the government is being transparent because, first off, they've made us understand that it is actually an event that is not only sponsored by Sierra Leone. They don't want to just leave the ordinary Sierra Leoneans in ambience or in doubt that is this substantially sponsored or hugely sponsored by the government of Sierra Leone. So they have come countlessly to the media to make such a clarification that Sierra Leone isn't the only body that is financially supporting this event. It is equally supported by private partners. You know, we should not look at the previous challenges that Sierra Leone faced from the OAU summits. We have to, you know, in fact, learn from such lessons. You know, the only thing I can propose to the government and as well as, you know, authorities within the regional bloc is to ensure that they strategically plan, as they have actually been doing. Looking at the OAU summit, they did not actually invest in any infrastructure. The economy was mismanaged, was misused, you know, was actually displaced. they did not invest in any infrastructure. Like looking at the
Wasn't that the time they
Madabio,
built the OAU village, the villas at the OAU village in Hill Station?
those were not economically viable.
How so?
They cannot, for futuristic purpose, serve Sierra Leone. They were only meant to host. Like for the Madabio International Conference Center, even in the future, it is going to serve Sierra Leone economically, because it is going to serve as a center to attract international businesses, investments, you know, where people come to host conferences, you know, to actually host meetings.
How much of these conferences can be hosted in Sierra Leone?
Sierra Leone.
International conferences.
Yes, Sierra Leone is not only part of ECOWAS, it is part of a number of international organizations. You know, and away from that, Sierra Leone interacts or romances with other, you know, countries around the world. You know, if, for example, the Minister of Foreign Affairs wants to have a meeting with some other foreign affairs ministers, you know, if they are to have a place to host such a meeting, they need not go to other places that we are already existing to pay money to have such a meeting. They can just utilize such a money or such finance, you know, in the current conference center that has been constructed. That is going to actually expedite, you know, revenue generation for Sierra Leone, because such a money is going to be added to the consolidated funds. It is not only about the current financial or economic status that we have to look at. We have to look at the future. What is this going to actually benefit Sierra Leone in the future? How is it going to impact the citizenry of Sierra Leone? It's not about the current
For a government who came
benefits.
in, and ever since they came into power, we've never celebrated independence the way we used to celebrate independence. And when the president was asked, he said that until our GDP gets to a certain level, we will not celebrate independence because it is working. Don't you think it will amount to double standards for us to expend such monies for very long-term benefit? Because based on what you're saying now, even if we're going to benefit from this building, this conference center, which is located in Lunge, where many people don't really go for their conferences because of the proximity. Most people prefer doing their stuff here in Freetown, at the Radisson Blue, and other hotels, which are equally nice. Don't you think this amounts to double standards? If the president has said initially that he's cutting costs because I want to do this for the people, because I want to do this for the people, and at this time, when it is obvious that the country is going through some excruciating, serious economic problems, don't you think that amounts to double standards?
I do not definitely think so. It's equal to the fact that you cannot compare the celebration of our independence to
based on the fact
summit.
that he needs to work on the GDP.
And
the GDP is still...
Not actually, because the celebration of the independence is by no way substantially going to impact our economy. It is just going to be a waste of, you know, finances.
You're talking
waste
about
of finances.
tourism.
You know, well, that is not fundamentally reliable. It is not fundamentally reliable. Like for this summit, you are going to see not only heads of state coming to Sierra Leone to have just a mere meeting. You are going to see investors. You are going to see international partners coming to not only discuss policies, to not only make some, you know, empty decisions. They are going to actually come to see how Sierra Leone is politically strong, how Sierra Leone is economically doing well, even though we are encountering or we are experiencing some amount of challenges. But Sierra Leone again is quite significantly doing well, looking at the current global, you know, problems that, you know, we are faced with. You know, at the end of the day, looking at this summit, those international partners, those investors, and event alone, this event is going to make the government of Sierra Leone to work on infrastructures like roads for the, you know, for fellow heads of states, you know, to the president to come to Lunge, they cannot just leave Lunge like that. They are going to make sure that Lunge is well organized in terms of infrastructure like roads. They are going to put other things in place that can in the future benefit the nation. It is not only about the current benefits, but how in the future it is going to benefit.
How does hosting this particular summit translate into true benefit for even the ordinary Ya Almami in Lunge before coming down here to Freetown? How does it translate?
Yes, it is simple. It is simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take us through it.
Yes. By hosting this summit, as I stated, or as I have always stated here, you are going to have investors, you are going to have tourists.
What is your evidence?
Yes, you are going to have them. Like I have often heard, from even government officials that people like, Dangote will attend the summit. And that is going to be a significant progress because when Dangote comes, he's not only going to sit to observe the session. After the session, or perhaps during the session, he can have strategic engagement with government officials and with even the president. Before this time, with the effort of the president to actually have a very, strategic event, he had an engagement with, Dangote. So you see, during or after this summit, Dangote and some other people who are investors are going to invest. But how is this going to actually translate into an aspect that it can benefit even the ordinary citizens, like Pa Almami in Yalmami, like Yalmami in Kobola, or Yalmami in Upper Fudi in my village Kotumankwe, right, Kenema district. So like seemingly hosting this is going to make investors is going to make international partners to trust our country, trust our country, to invest in it, to actually, yes.
But before you go to your next point, do you think that just hosting a summit is enough to convince an investor to come and invest in Sierra Leone, taking into consideration the fact that we're struggling seriously with electricity, and that is one thing investors look at before they decide to go and invest in a country? Yes, political stability will say, okay, fine and good, but we have other challenges, unresolved economic challenges. Don't you think investors look at all of these things? And of course, talking about the image of the country, in recent times, we've seen Sierra Leone being dragged on international media as a country that is now at a shipment hub. We've been making headlines for drug-related matters. Don't you think investors look at all of these things before they eventually decide to come and invest in a country, especially the electricity aspect?
These things that we actually see on social media, are they from trusted or credible, media platforms?
Are you dismissing them, or?
No.
Okay.
I'm responding directly to the question that you asked.
Okay.
Yeah, that will they actually trust, the country to invest? Will they actually be convinced, to invest in the economy of Sierra Leone, looking at the, the prevailing circumstances, especially looking at how excruciating the image of Sierra Leone has been on the media. So that is my direct response.
Okay.
That have we been seeing this news coming from credible or trusted, media platforms like BBC, AYV, SLBC? No, these are just things from social media. We cannot just holistically.
No, I beg to differ. These are not just things on social media.
We
have
all of these things.
No, talking about the narcotics and the transshipment thing, it was all over. And of course, we've seen the officials from the government of, what's the country? Netherlands, actually requesting an extradition of someone in this country that they consider to be a drug lord and is wanted in their country. And the government has also sent correspondence, saying, okay, we are still in talks with our partners and the like. So to some extent, some of these headlines we're credible?
Every nation in the world has problems that, it grapples with.
Okay.
Sierra Leone is no exception. We cannot just seemingly look at one problem and say we are not as a nation ready, or we are not prepared to embrace development internationally equally. Yeah. Sierra Leone is actually a very, interesting nation that is in recent times, especially under the scrupulous leadership of, our president, Julius Malabio, that is, positioning itself as a country that is, ready to change its economic narratives and to equally rebrand its image and to, present itself as a highly stabilized, as a highly resilient, political state. So the country has these problems that cannot prevent it. The country actually has, these problems that cannot make it to participate, or cannot actually make it to attract investors to invest in it. By just we cannot say generally the economy of Sierra Leone is abysmal or is just debilitatingly, bad. Somehow we are doing well. Looking at the agricultural sector, looking at, the infrastructural sector in terms of roads, in terms of, bridges, and in terms of some other things infrastructurally that have been done in Sierra Leone, we are actually doing well as a nation as well. Right, though we are experiencing some other challenges, but we are actually doing well as well.
Okay, Dukule, thank you very much.
Mr. Mambo, as we close, because we barely have 3 or 4 more minutes, the time will not be enough to discuss,
all
this and everything and every
it's
concern.
just like the time will not be enough to develop.
but I know you'd want to respond to the Almami question.
Almami is actually not going to benefit from this conference because this conference is not meant for Almami in Kobola, nor the grandfather of Chasmabu in Nayambu in Kailan district, because this is a head of state, and all these people are talking about Almami and my grandfather.
But what's the discussions and decisions that affect the lives of ECOWAS citizens?
Okay, let me say this quickly. In spite of all what we have said and the perceptions we have, if actually we have had the opportunity, from those that actually led the construction and the organization of this conference, where we have the total opportunity to be briefed, on a daily basis of what is happening, what is the cost, what are the cost analysis, and what are the benefits we get. I think some of the perceptions we are expressing, perhaps we should not have expressed it. Unfortunately, that was a missed opportunity. But let me say this. As I sit here, if I was in the position of President Bio, I would definitely host the ECOWAS summit, because Sierra Leone as a country will own a lot to ECOWAS. Sierra Leone is surviving today as a state because of ECOWAS. It was as a result of ECOWAS intervention, especially under leaders like late General Sani Abacha, you understand, that they actually supported, they brought in their military, they brought in their citizens, who thousands of them died in Sierra Leone, for us to survive and to sit as we are talking today. So anything that deal with ECOWAS, it actually deal with Sierra Leone. Anybody that is in position to support ECOWAS vision, ECOWAS mission, and ECOWAS vision, like what is going to happen now, definitely I, as Kias Mambo, if I'm in position If and when I shall be in position of President Bio and any other head of state, definitely I will support all the mandate and vision of ECOWAS, because Sierra Leone as a country owns a lot to ECOWAS. Okay. ECOWAS has sacrificed, ECOWAS has invested militarily, they have invested personnel, equipment, you know, and other state building mechanism to get Sierra Leone to survive as we are actually talking. So it was not a mistake, in addition to the credentials of President Bio, that the colleagues head of state will actually say, hey, Madam Bio, you are going to lead us as our chair. Before hosting this conference, President Bio was already elected as the chair of the ECOWAS head of state and authority. You understand? He was. And that decision was taken by his colleague. And again, they now say, we are going to visit Sierra Leone, you understand, and you are going to host us. You know, so Sierra Leone owes a lot to ECOWAS, because they have actually been with us at the time when we needed survivor. The time we needed survivor as a country and as a people. That was the time when we have ECOWAS behind us and before us. And definitely for some of us who are at the front line, at the war front, you know, working with ECOWAS, working with the UN system and the other, we saw the part that was played by ECOWAS before even UN were actually coming. And even when UN came in, they never changed the trajectory. Okay. You know, to a large extent, the ECOWAS was actually managing the affairs of Sierra Leone, and they did it very well. So I want to say a lot of thanks to ECOWAS. We want to welcome the head of states that are coming here and ask them not ever to forget about Sierra Leone, because what is happening now is just a payback and recognition of the effort of ECOWAS, which they have done for us.
Thank you very much. Can you give us your part in short, Ibrahim? Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And let me just start by what Mr. Mambo stated. When he brought in the issues of ECOWAS intervention into Sierra Leone, as a key reason of probably
as one of
as one of the key reasons. Okay, to me, I don't see it as even significant or reasonable reasons, because this is not a favor. Really. It is an entitlement, because we are subscriber to the treaties of ECOWAS. So Sierra Leone is entitled to benefit whatever plans or whatever entitlements that the ECOWAS as a community bloc is actually providing. And my brother also made mentions about the money, that this money is a public-private partnership. I think, I don't know if he has taken his time to listen to government ministers. My brother, Mr. Mambu, here stated it clearly, that significant amount of the money is coming from government. Let us assume that indeed it is actually a private-public money. But there is what we call corporate governance. And in corporate governance, whatever private sector is actually complementing government financially, it is part of the economy, and it's a public economy. So you cannot use that to dismiss the fact that government is not taking $140 million to invest in an infrastructure, hard infrastructure, which is different from the soft infrastructure. So that is why I said the money is up to 160 million. So with that being said, that is why I described that it is a misplaced priority at a time like this, when our economy is actually struggling. At a time like this, when we have electricity challenges. At a time like this, when the free quality education is facing challenges. At a time like this, when we have even clean pipe-borne water, there is a problem about it. But let me give this scenario. Pancreas, we angry na us. And in the next 1 hour, if we know it's papa, mama, pikin, in the next 1 hour, if we not put something in our belly, we will die. Then they don't give you notice na us. Say, tomorrow, una for left this us. They don't give you notice. Then papa don't go get other us some side for parents. Then papa get the 5,000 leons for go parent. So papa, they take that money, go parent. Say because they don't give you notice. So the problem is, if in that 1 hour we all die, who that get for go live na that house? where papa they go parents. Oh, all don't die now because the angry don't kill me. So sometimes we get for the strategic when it comes to governance. I don't want to see a situation after hosting this summit when the economic crisis or the economy will collapse. It will stand in a position to expose the President Bio's situational leadership ability. And some of us will come here again to be saying, we'll be talking, why host this thing? So these are the problems. Sometimes it is the line. We may have the same thoughts that we should host it, but the strategy at which you used to host it. So to us, we advocates say that the deal has been done. But if there are other mechanisms to review and re-strategize, we need to do it. It is not like because you cannot stop the hosting anymore. But people should know that it is not statutorily mandatory to host an ECOWAS summit, even when you have the chairperson, and there is a precedent that has been set by the Togo government, and there are other associating precedents and factors. When other countries that hosted the ECOWAS summit, what were the economic challenges? Some went into oblivion of austerity. Even though we are technically living in austerity because we are subjected under the IMF fiscal guidelines, we talk about economic review. An alternative description to economic review is an austerity because it's management and how you can handle expenses and revenue generation. So to me, my parting words is it's good to be here, and I'm happy for all the speakers. I think we don't talk something for let me push Salongo before.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Thank you, Mr. Mambonto Yudukule, for joining us.
I hope after the conference we'll come here again to analyze this. Even though we have not been invited.
Definitely. Let's close with this session. Now, Sierra Leone's parliament has endorsed a private member's motion calling for legal protection for former presidents and their families following the discontinuation of criminal charges against former President Ernest Bai Koroma. The motion tabled by Majority Leader Honorable Matthew Numa also calls for support for families affected by the November 2023 attempted coup, while lawmakers say the move is aimed at strengthening peace and national cohesion. Critics question its impact on accountability and the rule of law. Our parliamentary reporter Samuel Sonitoya has the report.
Inside Parliament, the debate carried the weight of a nation still negotiating the balance between justice and reconciliation. The chambers was filled as lawmakers responded to the Attorney General's decision to discontinue all charges against former President Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, a move that have reopened the conversation about political stability, accountability, and the protection of former leaders.
We should bring national cohesion. We should look about what gains have we made. Our similarities are far greater than our differences. What brings us together is far outweigh what puts us apart. We in the political class are not speaking. We should not use political differences as a way to divide a nation. Political parties are just a conduit to sell our political ideas or philosophy to our people. Be it resolved, this Honorable House 1 promulgates a government of private members bill into law to safeguard the welfare of former heads of states, of former president and vice president. 2, that this Honorable House urges government to support the families of those servicemen, and women who were impaired or lost their lives during the tragic incident of 26 November 2023 and sacrificed to uphold the national security.
The motion, seconded by opposition leader Honorable Abdul Kabo, argues that a legal framework for former presidents and their families could help promote national unity and prevent political tensions.
The AG has the right to act in the interest of the general good of this country, especially on matters that degenerate political stability, on matters that suggest or put at risk national cohesion. On broader matters that have relation to broader public good, the law permits his action. Let us break the barrier. Let us break the bond. Let us begin a new era in our political dispensation. Let us begin unity, harmony, and oneness. Let us come together for the promotion of our all desired good.
Across the aisle, lawmakers described the proposal as part of Sierra Leone's longer journey away from the scars of its 11-year civil war, where questions of peace and justice have often walked side by side.
And today, these 6 parliaments will be remembered, just like the parliament before us that accepted the Leone peace agreement to be made for the peace and peaceful coexistence of the people of this country. This parliament will remember that it is under this parliament, under the leadership of the Right Honorable Second Apostle of Thomas, from God, a very small place, under his leadership, that the foundation to sustainable peace was built.
Seriously convinced that once we have these bodies, maybe a few more, as elders council, to advise government on critical matters, I think it will be good for us. On that note, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to state again that from this side, we are in full support of the initiative moved by His Excellency the President, Julius Leone, to ensure the safe return of our former President, Dr. Nasrai Koroma, that will serve as a new dawn in the history of this country. God bless us.
I'm going to take this message to them. Unfortunately, in about 2 weeks from now, we will be having our national conference, the national conference of paramount chiefs of this country. We'll be together for the conference. We'll relay this message to them so that it will be everybody's responsibility to take it down to the last village.
The House has now approved the motion, paving the way for the Attorney General's office to draft legislation for consideration by Parliament. Honorable Numa also called for a review of the Supreme Court decision in the case of Alhaji Samuel Samsumana versus Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Victor Bokari Fo, describing it as a precedent that requires reconsideration. But outside Parliament, the conversation continues. For some citizens, the move represents a bridge towards reconciliation. For others, it raises concerns about whether peace can be built without equal accountability. Samuel Tony Sawyer, AYV News, Freetown.
Welcome back. You're still watching Wake Up Sierra Leone on the YV's television. Well, for our second conversation, the Kids Advocacy Network, CAN, and partners successfully hosted the Twin 50 Most Influential African Women Awards and the African Women Leadership Conference in Freetown on April 24th to the 25th, 2026. These prestigious events spotlighted female excellence in governance, business, education, and advocacy. The 50 Most Influential Women Awards initiative spotlighted local change makers and featured a shortlisted pool of 100 nominees elected by public voting, which ran from June 10th to July 10, 2026. This morning in the studio to announce the winners, 50 Most Influential Women Awards, is Edmund Alimbi Fona, chairperson, 50 Most Influential Women Awards. We also have Juliet Lavalley, founder and CEO, Manyande Women's Development Organization. She's here to talk about her organization and their products. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Wake Up, Sierra Leone. So I'd like to start with you, Edmund. 50 most influential women, and we're talking about credibility here. Can you take us through the process?
Thank you very much. Of course, you can recall in April I was here, and when we hosted, Sierra Leone hosted the 50 most influential African women, and we have guests like former President Kantri Samba Panza of Central Republic of Africa. We have former Vice President of Liberia, Joel Award Taylor. We also have we have to have the Speaker of Parliament for Eswatini. We have a governor in Nigeria, and so a host of other women. And we did not just organize the award ceremony, but we also organized the African Women Leadership Conference, wherein we invited women to talk about leadership, to talk about entrepreneurship, to talk about how women can support each other and so on and so forth, and also establish what we call the African Women Influential Women Network. And of course, every year again in Sierra Leone, we normally organize what is called 50 Most Influential Sierra Leonean Women Award, and this is the 9th edition. And also, what we normally do is by December, we'll issue out public notice calling on the public to nominate women that are exemplary in their career, women that are leaving their comfort zone to contribute to national development in your community, in your office, in the school, etc., etc. So we have a committee. The committee is the vetting committee. The vetting committee will sit and shortlist these women, and so on and so forth.
What qualifies a person to be nominated? Because now that you mentioned a vetting committee, how do they get to a point where they would say, okay, Alima should be nominated, Mrs. Lavalley should be nominated? How do they get to that point?
Okay, of course, the key benchmark is about impact in your community, impact in whatever you're doing, and sustainability. For instance, you cannot just say, okay, Alima is a presenter at AYV. Just because of that, we give our...
Am I not making an impact?
Yeah, you are making impact. You are making impact, but also we trace about how long, how sustainable, and how impactful it is, and how many lives you have changed, or through your reporting style, for example.
How do you quantize that? How do you put, for instance, an example, Alima's success in the media limelight with the people she has impacted? How do you quantify that?
Okay, let me just look at, in the media. For instance, you have stories that you broadcast that will human interest story. I think that's how you call it, and that really transforms someone's life. For example, there was one reporter, is a male reporter in AYV, and I think there was a child that's the family are unable to pay the fees, and he published that article and mobilized funds for that, because that is not his job to mobilize funds, but he goes out of the way to mobilize funds to ensure that that child goes back to school. So we look at all of that. We have, as I said, we have experts who are from every background, and who are looking at those criteria, looking at those impacts. If you can look at the nomination forms that we'll send outside, we'll ask you to send us pictures, we'll ask you to send up websites, we'll ask you to give us stories, example, and all of those stuff. Okay. Like this year, we received about 2006 nomination, and after the 2006 nomination, we shortlisted 100, and after the 100, the public will elect the 50 most influential women. And also again, the public election is just 30%, but your impact, the sustainability of your impact, I always say it, and I always say it here, that there is difference between popularity and impact. And we look at more impact. How do you use your influence to transform the life of others? How do you use your influence to promote development in Sierra Leone? So the public will nominate, the public will nominate, and the public again will elect the 50 most influential women.
When it comes to public voting, public nomination and the like, it can become a popularity contest, if I may say. And I want to believe that you have women in rural areas, in isolated, if I should say, communities, who might be making so much impact in their community. How do you factor these women?
Okay, we have a wide range of network. Of course, Kids Advocacy Network is the leading organizer, but we have network of 29 women and girls organization across the country. Normally, we do community radio station. When we issue out the nomination, we send it to community radio station. We go to communities and so on and so forth. For example, Madam Juliette Lavalley, this is my very first time of meeting her, but we have been speaking. Last year, she was awarded. Yeah. I don't know her. And most of the awardees, I've never met them in person. So the people nominate. And as I said, there's difference between, for us, we try to distinguish between popularity and impact. What you are doing, how you are transforming the life of people, that is what we consider as influential.
So as we speak at the moment, do we have such women as the ones that are just described?
Every year we have women.
Ones that are not lettered.
Of course, sure.
That don't
we
have the influence to use social media.
We have awarded petite leader, for example, Go Through. She did not went to school. We have awarded persons with disability. We have awarded agriculturists, market women, etc. Every year we look at that in the list. We ensure that the list is diversified from every district, from every background. We ensure that women that are really impacting the life.
All right, let's bring in Madam Juliette Lavalley, co-founder Manyade Women's Organization. Let's start off, Madam Lavalley. Tell us about the Manyade Women's Development Organization. What inspired this organization and what is it all about?
Manyade Women's Development Organization is, as its name states, it's a women's development organization. It started when I came back from the US. I went to my village. I always love rural setting. And I was ready for breakfast and they said, oh, Mom, we have to go to the market. And this is a very rural village. I said, what do you mean go to the market? They said, we have to go buy, because I'm used to growing up. My grandmother just goes behind the house and gets everything she needs to go to prepare a meal. So I looked at it and I said, this has to change. You know, you don't have resources and now you have to buy. You have the land, you have the soil. So I formed the first cooperative of 17 women. And now we have close to 1,000 women, 750 that are very active in the cooperative, to be able to provide resources, advocate for them to improve their economic livelihood through agriculture. So that started in 2018, we started. And now we are seeing a lot of gains, especially with the feed salon. They are planting, and we need them to have access to markets. When you plant more, you can only consume so much. So we started the Manyade Fine Foods, which is processing, making sure that what they're processing doesn't stay in the ground, because when you process, when you farm, if you cannot translate it into economic gains, you're not motivated to continue. So we started processing their produce. The cassava we make into the gari mix, and that also was triggered by, consume salon, make salon. I'm very passionate about industrial development in Sierra Leone, not just farming. I saw a package of gari mix, and when I looked, one was made in Ghana, the other one was made in Nigeria. Why would we be importing Gary into Sierra Leone when we have cassava, we have all what it takes. We've been producing Gary, we should not import. So that stimulated, you know, stepping up in the agro-processing. We do rice, we do cassava, we do corn, and nothing goes to waste in our organization. We even do animal feed because the byproducts from the rice, for the waste, and the Gary, we transform it into livestock feed.
Are these products entirely made and produced by women?
The production, the farms are owned by, I would say 80% women. We have some men in the cooperatives, but 80% are women farmers. And then in the processing center, we have women there. And we also bring interns from Jala University who are in the agricultural space. Currently, I think this summer we have about 8 or 12 of them that come into the organization and practice what they've learned in Jala. So not just the farmers in the rural area, the aspiring farmers also we encourage. And the packaging was done in Ghana by an organization called IPAC. They also are very passionate about helping women. And it was a journey to design and get it just right for both the local and international market. And the women are very excited. We get a lot of support from UN Women in terms of mechanization because some of the women are transforming now from subsistence farming to mechanization.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm seeing the rice package, yes, and the Gari. For my viewers, I'm interested.
That's why you grabbed it, more
in the Gari. I mean, products like these, and you've mentioned that this is a cooperative of women. We know the agricultural scene in Sierra Leone, the challenges. You know, if you're going to produce like this, you're thinking of mechanization, you're thinking of finance, you're thinking of also, you know, innovative ways of how to produce this faster and also the consumer market to reach people. How are these challenges? How are you thriving through them?
The challenges are there, but you have to, once you're determined, once I'm determined I'm going to do something, I will do. So we go through in terms of, we started using our local machineries, and there are challenges because they're very rudimentary what we make locally. So I think last year I was privileged to join His Excellency the President on a trip to Nigeria. I made sure that I took advantage of that opportunity to look at the landscape, their equipment, and what they have to industrialize, and I was able to bring some of that home here. Talking about the ECOWAS, you know, exchanging skills and technology, you know, really helps development in the region. So I learned a lot during that trip. I took courses there on how to really industrialize, produce at an industrial level.
Well, you came in today with nicely packaged products, and Boka has already grabbed
and this is country rice, so
I just want you to,
heavy one.
I'm assuming you want to showcase these products, so I just want you to take us through each of these packages, what they are, and
so this is our local rice. This rice was grown in Senel, Moyamba district, and it was parboiled. We had to bring somebody from Kabbalah, from another cooperative sister. We have an organization, Women in Agriculture Network, that I happen to be the president. So everybody have different skills. This is the value of coming together with people.
Okay, give me the guy.
Don't joke with this guy. Don't joke with that guy.
Yes. And train the women on parboiling.
Okay.
And so we're now parboiling. This is parboiled rice, very healthy, especially people who are struggling with diabetes. They want to eat low carb rice. This is a very good option. We have a rice meal that was given to us, to the cooperative there, seeing what we're doing. One thing about the government that when you're working, they look and they compliment what you're doing. So I want to really take this opportunity to appreciate His Excellency and the Ministry of Agriculture, UN Women and World Food Program. This meal that they gave to us, destones. You know, one of the challenges in cooking a local rice is very stones. So the meal destones the rice, so it's very... Yes.
There are no stones in this packet?
No,
okay.
Yes, the meal destones the rice.
And I see that it's also hand parboiled.
Yes.
What does that mean?
It means that it's parboiled the local way.
In
It's not
those
a
big
machine.
drums?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the women parboil it, they dry it, and then we, and I will try to share some of the
So this
pictures.
is made with love too.
Yes, and a lot of, I'm very passionate and proud of the women.
And this one?
Yeah,
This is
the
gari. This is the plain 1 kg gari for the people who don't want the gari that's flavored and seasoned.
Okay.
And this is really packaged so that you can keep going in and it maintains the freshness.
Okay.
It's gari that's also made in Bo in our processing center. We have an agribusiness hub that we do all the cassava processing.
What other products do you have there?
This is gari with peanuts. Adding protein, so it's very nutritious.
Okay.
In short, gari and granat.
Yes.
I remember back then in the school days. Definitely I can relate. I can definitely relate. Gari and granat.
Yes, yes.
And what else?
And this is gari with vanilla. They call it ice cream gari.
Yeah.
They put it and they lick it. It has a very good flavor.
Oh,
so it's already made. You just add your water and you're good to go.
And they all have expiry dates.
Yes, yes.
Production dates and expiry
production
dates.
date, yes. Quality is one. This is lafidi seasoning. So this is the beni. Where you get your lafidi, you have it in the office.
Okay, this is beni.
It's beni made with fish and all of that, if you see it. So you just open it and you put it on your rice. You're ready to go. If you don't, you have your sardine. You're good to go. Or your jakato and okra. You're good to go. Or you're eating. You don't want to use Maggi. Another thing is health focus. We have a lot of high blood pressure around. We need to stop the Maggi. Let's use our natural herbs and spices.
Yeah.
So all of these were made with health in mind. Gari is more healthy than bread. Bread has wheat, it's high gluten. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, I get ulcer, I get ulcer. You haven't done really an endoscopy to know that you have ulcer. Wheat bread has a lot of gluten that's not good for our gut health. Gari has no gluten, so we need to promote made in Sierra Leone by Sierra Leoneans for Sierra Leoneans.
How much do these go for? Because too many times people complain that our local products are quite expensive as compared to the ones we import. So how much do these go for? Are they affordable?
They are very affordable.
Okay.
The Gari mix, retail is going for 5 leones.
This packet?
No, the mix.
Okay, the mix.
Yes.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, it's going for 5 leones.
You can replace this with your morning cookery. Okay, this one is going the Gari mix, and then this again is 5 leones.
It's Gari mix, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What about this sachet?
That one is going for 60 leones.
60 leones. How many cups?
About 7 cups, 7 or 8 cups.
Okay. And the rice?
The rice is 80 leones.
Okay, so just in case someone might be watching now and they might be interested in this product, how do they find them?
Okay, they are already in supermarkets. They're in Choice Ram, St. Mary's, all the big supermarkets, and all the serious business people who want to attract customers and help. So most stores, we have them in most stores. And also we have a number that you can call, 032-604-100. You can have it delivered to your doorstep.
So what's the goal? I mean, do you intend to just provide for the Sierra Leonean community, or do you intend to start exporting?
Yeah, I mean, for our families, you coming from the United States, you know, it's hard to get this continuous upline.
Yes.
In the United States, for instance, are we going to start seeing these rice being exported to, our Sierra Leone communities in the diaspora?
Absolutely. The goal number 1 for me is economic empowerment for women.
Okay.
Number 2 is creating jobs for youth, because all of these are job creating, livelihood in the rural area. That's why all our production is done in Bo and Moyamba. Nothing is being produced in Freetown. That's the goal, that we take all of this out. Freetown is so congested, everything is here. We take some of these out into nearness to raw material, again, is the key to a successful industry. And once we have the standard and quality, we're looking at exporting it. Not just like today, I have an order to send these to Gambia.
Okay.
So not just in to America and England, even the other countries also there's a market for. So our goal is to create jobs, create food security or food sufficiency, promote our local goods, stop this importing of everything that we can make locally.
Looking at these products, I can tell that much was invested. And, you know, funding sometimes is a challenge.
Yes.
When you take such a venture. How do you fund this?
Now, a lot of this, I am retired. I retired from my own fund. I did a lot of the initial seed money came from my own hard-earned money.
Okay.
You know, I haven't gotten, bank loans are very impossible when it comes to agriculture and women. So we really are trying, we have advocated, but we haven't gotten over that hump for the banking system to trust, because women really, when it comes to trade across the world, they say we're better in trading, we're better in business, even in agriculture, we're doing the work. But when it comes now to access to finance, it continues to be a challenge. Access to equipment, it continues to be a challenge. So it has been a challenge. We have got some support from the government in terms of the equipment that WFP gave us, the rice mill. That was a big investment, it's a big boost. We appreciate it. But for example, when it comes to marketing our local goods, I cannot compete with somebody like Paddy. When I want to do a billboard, it's costing almost $1,000 a pop. We don't have that deep pocket. So we still need the support of the government. We still need the support of well-wishers for us to be able to meaningfully compete. Because if you are wanting to get into industrial, from commercial to industrial, it has to be serious investment. So the government, the Ministry of Trade and Industry have to really be serious about supporting indigenous Sierra Leoneans. We need the support. We are ready. We have a lot of women within the network who are doing a wonderful job. Yesterday, I visited one of my farmers in Jamila Tujalo. She has a poultry in Mashaka. She's doing a wonderful job. Somebody like that. She's been in that industry for many, many years. She's proven herself. What does she need? She needs to get out of the cycle of, you know, just buy and sell, to be able to be a really industrial poultry farmer. So,
all right, Edmond, as we round off, you've spoken that, you know, the previous award brought together, you know, big dignitaries from across Africa. Are you, you know, planning on also, you know, extending this initiative beyond Sierra Leone to other African countries, or to start recognizing the 50 most influential women in Africa, for instance?
Yes, that was what we did in April, and also we are going to do it again in January in Nigeria. But the 50 most influential Sierra Leonean Women Award this year, we are hosting it on the 15th of, can I go straight to the list? Yes, because of time? And we are hosting it this year because of, on the 15th of August at the Bintumani Conference Center, the International Conference Center, and also the under the distinguished Grand Chief patronage of the current Vice President of Ghana, and also but we'll share the press release and also the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone. So we'll share the press release. So the first for this year, 50 Most Influential Sierra Leonean Women Award, we have Her Excellency Dr. Fatima Mada Bio, First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone and President of OFLAD. We have Dr. Jeridine Loretta D. Dingy, a General Overseer, a banker, and a woman advocate. We have Engineer Tidani Awajabi, who is the Managing Director of Sierra Leone Water Company. We have Honorable Rosemary Bangura, who is a Member of Parliament for Tokolili District. We have Madam Marie Momon, who is a farmer and CEO for Universal Access Development Fund. We have Dr. Joan Hedge Shepherd, who is Nursing and Midwifery Education Registrar and Administrator. We have Honorable Ugiatu Zikanu, a Member of Parliament for Western Area Urban. We have Musayo Obari, the Director General Sierra Leone Civil Aviation Authority. We have Dr. Valerie John Cole, a medical doctor who is a gynecologist. We have Mrs. Onike King, the proprietress for Excel School and Executive Director for Guild Foundation. We have Mrs. Olive Bemba, who is the CEO for Olive Bee Academy. We have Dr. Ashata Maoi, the Minister of Gender and Children Affairs. We have Fatu Abiode, an entrepreneur, a trader. And also we have Elizabeth A.B. Okechukwu, who is the CEO for Hamilton Morgan Funeral Home in Waterloo. We have Madam Awasali Samai, the Executive Secretary for Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion. We have Madam Marie Kaloko, who is also a farmer, the CEO for Unity Women in Agriculture Business Cooperative. We have Aja Fatmata Dasama, the National Coordinator, who is also a farmer. We have Madam Sally N. Adams, the President, Women's Forum Sierra Leone. We have Albert Skowa, the Deputy Chairperson, Bo District Council. We have Honorable Rachel M.S. Pesima, a Member of Parliament. And also we have Dr. Paramount Chief, Dr. Margaret Bani Bio, who is the the Chancellor, University of Sierra Leone and a Paramount Chief. We have Teresa Grace Masuba, who is the Executive Director for Youth Partnership for Peace and Development. We have Aja Aissatou Ba Kamara, Southern Region Chairperson for the All People Congress. We have Mrs. Olga Maria Boigbe, the Board Chairperson for Women's Forum. We have a businesswoman also in Kono, and Kenema and Bo, Mariama Mansari, who is the CEO for Versace Restaurant and Bar. And also we have Aja Dai, who is the national Bai, who is the national women's leader for Fula Progressive Union. We have Madam Bendu Masako, who is UN Women Program Specialist. We have Justice Aissatou Selu Toka, who is High Court Judge. We have Aja Bendu Kalon, Regional Chairperson, Traders Union South. We have Madam Aissatou Jabi Kabar, Gender Advisor to President. We have Dr. Marcella Ryan Coker, who is a medical doctor also. We have Maya Malu Bangura, who is the President for National Women Congress of the All People Congress. We have Madam Susan Baby Coker, Deputy Director General, Sierra Leone Correctional Center. We have Juneta Ayodele Macaulay, the Funeral Director for Columbia Davis Memorial Parlor. We have Michaela Macaulay, who is the Marketing Manager, Wakeup Commercial Bank. We have Mrs. Sonia Jafal Ben Kefala, who is CEO for Babies Pop by Sonia. We have Maya Tsuare, Country Representative for UNIDO. We have Awako Omar, who is a matron in Bont District. We have Sia Wango A. Kabia, Director of Gender Affairs, Office of National Security. We have Fatmata Bitsue, Executive Director of Falaba Women's Network. We have Colonel Dr. Tomosia George, who is the Coordinator of Women's and Health, 34 Military Hospital. We have Honorable Mariama M. Zombo, Member of Parliament, Buzom District. We have Honorable Awa Conte, Member of Parliament, Koinadogu District. We have Alfina Emma Kamara, a TikToker and social media influencer. We have Fatima Marawa Sandi, Deputy Executive Director, National Investment Board. We have Esther Yeno and Kamara, President, Sierra Leone Models Union. We have Kadi Bachelet Taylor, the Gender Analyst for UNDP. We have Kadi Jumu Peters, the Governance Lead, UNDP. We have Arayoki, CEO Kamara Yoki Innovation Center. We have Fiona Gaima, President, National Union of Sierra Leone Students.
Right, quite a list there. Thank you very much, Edmund, for joining us this morning. As we round up now, before we round up with sport, Madam Lavali, you've spoken about a very important issue, access to funding. We've seen improvements in terms of gender when it comes to politics, but yet again, still women struggle with accessing finance. How soon do you hope this will change, and what steps do you wish should happen in order for women to access financing in terms of investment or entrepreneurship like this?
Okay. I am one of the members of the technical committee for the Presidential Technical Committee for the Feed Salon, and I'm hoping that with the implementation of an agricultural bank, that there will be a women's policy to promote women's access to finance. For agencies, UN Women does a lot for us. For me, for example, the success of my agribusiness hub, I credit wholly to UN Women. But I think after their work in advocating for policies that we need to get the agencies to look at these issues in women's access to finance. There are a lot of funds that are supposed to be geared for women that most of the time it is in the design of those funding, it crowds out women, you know. So I'm hoping that this issue will be taken up as complementary to the Feed Salon program, because women are contributing close to 70% of agricultural production, from production to marketing to processing. I'm hoping that that would be taken as a focus area in terms of how do we become industrialized, so that, I have one container of gari, I can be able to send that out. I can be able to get trucks, get things. Other women will be able to get the resources they need to be able to plant 200-300 hectares. But until it is given the seriousness it deserves from the central bank to the commercial banks, it still will continue to be a challenge.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Lavali, for joining us this morning. I'm afraid this is all we have time for. Alima, before we close? You're already tired for the Friday. Anyway, let's close with sports. And now we'll close with sports. With the Glasgow Games approaching, members of Team Sierra Leone are training at Benguma Field, a venue that is not officially accredited, sparking questions about athletes' welfare and readiness. Marie Esther Samora is at the event to give us an update of what's happening. And we'll close with Marie Esther Samora. Good morning, Marie Esther Samora.
Yes. Good morning, and indeed the AYV sport team is currently at Benguma Field in the western rural of Freetown, where some athletes that will be representing the country in the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow are currently training in, I don't want to say a dilapidated facility, but it is not a standard facility for athletes going into such campaign. About 6 of them, one will be representing the country in the 800 meter race, another in the 200 meter, another woman in the 100 meter, among other race in this particular campaign. And so far they've been training effectively at this particular venue. Anytime from now we'll get from the head coach, who has been training these athletes for a very long time now at this particular venue, and that is because the Siaka Stevens Stadium is currently under refurbishment, and as such players are not allowed to train there. But now we have the head coach of the team. Hello and welcome to AYV.
Yeah, good evening, good morning, viewers, and I am Selu Aruna, and yeah, welcome.
So now, tell me, you've been training these athletes for the Commonwealth Games. Usually you do train
with Maria Esther Samuel there. Apologies for the bad network, but as you've heard from her, the team Sierra Leone is currently preparing for the Glasgow Games, and of course the pitch that the team are preparing on is of course not conducive for Olympic standards. You know, Sierra Leone will be competing with other nations of the world at the Commonwealth Games, and look at the pitch. But we'll get that report subsequently in our programs during the day, and also on Primetime News, for you to understand the state of the preparedness of Team Sierra Leone as they go into the games, the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. Well, this is where we end today's edition of Wakeup Sierra Leone. We say many thanks to our sponsors, Wakeup Commercial Bank and other advertisers, for their support to the program. Until we meet again next week, I appreciate your time and your effort, and to our audience on Facebook, we appreciate your time for the comment. Until we meet again, I am Bokari Matia.
And I am Alimati Judge. Please stay tuned to AYV throughout today as we have other exciting programs coming up. Till we meet again next week. Take care of yourself and remember to always show kindness. Have a pleasant day.